We'll begin with some opening comments from Coach Dykes.
Yeah. Man, couldn't be more proud of these guys sitting up here and the rest of our team. I mean, what a hell of a football game. You know, it was a hard-fought game. I thought both teams really played hard. Really proud of these guys. We talked about all week leading up to the game how important it was going to be to play physical, and I thought we were definitely the most physical team on the field tonight. You know, our ability to run the ball, we almost outrushed Michigan for 100 yards. Our ability to stop the run, I think, was a difference in the ball game. Obviously made some big plays defensively, scored 2 touchdowns. That was critical. Held them out a couple of times again inside the 5-yard line, a couple of times early, and came away with no points. And, you know, what this group did tonight was what they've done all year. They just played really tough football, hard-nosed football, believed in each other, believed in their teammates, and just found a way to overcome and persevere. So it's kind of what we've done all year. We did it tonight. That's who we are. That's our football team, and we're looking forward to, you know, teeing it up again in 10 days and having a chance to win a national championship.
We'll start here on the left on the aisle. Let's get a mic to you.
Max, Derek Lido, KillerFrogs.com. Can you describe the emotions right now compared to after the Big 12 title game?
Yeah, this one's a little bit better. Feeling a little bit better after this one. I think, after that Big 12 championship game, I think that stung, you know, for everybody. I think a lot of people were emotional because you get so close to a league championship. And then for us to battle back and kind of, you know, avenge that loss and be able to win this one tonight against a great opponent and, you know, have the opportunity to go play for a national championship, I think just means so much to, you know, the guys up here, guys in the locker room, our coaching staff, our fans, our university. So I think that's kind of the, you know, the biggest thing.
We'll go to the right in the first row.
Sonny, Stephen Johnson, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. We spent a lot of this week talking about the conferences and how you guys matched up. Did this one kind of feel like an old school Big 12 game?
Yeah, in some ways it does. You know, it's funny, we talked to the team just kind of in pregame about the importance of confidence and where confidence comes from, and these guys have epitomized that all year. And, you know, you look at this game, there were so many momentum swings. You know, it seemed like 2 or 3 different times Michigan had all the momentum, and then somebody made a play. You know, Quentin made that big touchdown play, and Max made a hell of a throw, and then, you know, we had defensive stops when we needed, and it was one of those things where, you know, every time we started to get on our heels a little bit defensively, you know, all of a sudden it would be 3 and out. We'd stop them 3 and out and get the ball back, and the offense would score and put a little distance between us and Michigan. So it was a kind of an old-fashioned Big 12 shootout in some ways, but like I said, I mean, we came out with a very physical mindset. It was a physical football game, and as I said earlier, you know, we were the most physical team on the field tonight, and I think that was easy to see.
And D, just a quick follow-up. You had a tremendous game tonight. Was it kind of tiresome for you guys during the week, just hearing so much about the questions about whether or not you guys could match up to Michigan's physicality?
Yeah, I definitely would say, you know, we kind of just use it as a little bit of motivation. You know, we feel like the Big 12 is a very physical conference, and we just wanted to come out and showcase what the Big 12 is all about.
We'll stay here in the front row.
Coach, you lost Kendra Miller early in the third quarter to an injury, and then Amari DiMercato stepped in and had a really big game. Talk about his performance tonight and what that meant to you guys getting the victory.
Yeah, that's been what we've done all year. You know, somebody goes down, somebody else steps in and picks it up, and Amari's just that kind of player. You know, he's one of those guys that's been here a long time. He's been through a lot. You know, it's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and he's one of those guys, he's ready every week. And when he gets his opportunity, he always makes the most of it. I'm not surprised that he did what he did tonight, because that's what he's really done all year when he gets an opportunity. Hate to see Kendra, you know, go down with an injury. We'll obviously assess that, and hopefully he'll be ready to play a week from Monday. But couldn't be more proud of Amari and what he did and what he's done all year.
We'll stay center, first row there, second seat.
Hey, Quentin, Colin Post, Horned Frog Blitz. After the Big 12 title game, you kind of talked about after the fumble, you kind of needed to set up going forward for the Frogs. Talk about your performance today, and just did you feel like it kind of needed to be your moment to help your team get the win today?
Yeah, you know, just kind of bouncing back off the Big 12 game. Like Max said, obviously that stung, and I felt like I could you know, like we was together some more bigger plays that, you know, possibly could have helped us win that game. Like you said, the fumble, you know, obviously wasn't my best highlight, and you know, I kind of dwelled on it for a minute, but as soon as I heard our name called for you know, the college football playoffs, I kind of turned that loss into a lesson, as well as my teammates. You know, just kind of shook that game off, shook the fumble off, and you know, anything else, you know, I may have, you know, done bad, and kind of just you know, look forward into the next game.
I want to add something to that too. You know, our players and coaches, I think we did a really good job coming off of the Kansas State loss of looking in the mirror and saying, hey, look, what can we do better? You know, and that's what I love about this group. No one ever blames anybody else. There's no, you know, no one points fingers. There's no one tries to, the offense doesn't blame the defense, or the defense doesn't blame the offense, or there's none of that on this football team. We're all in this thing together. You know, the great thing about it is when somebody makes a mistake, which they're going to inevitably make during a football game, everybody on the sideline is you know, telling them to move on, put it behind them, and that's what makes this group so special. You know, I thought our coaching staff did a great job. There were some issues, you know, in the red zone, both defensively and offensively against Kansas State. Felt like we addressed those, and you know, made some corrections, and I think it showed up today. So again, I think all those things, when you play a team like Michigan and a team that's as evenly matched as these two teams were, you know, you've got to do a great job in the red zone, and both offensively and defensively, and we did that today.
We'll stay in the center in the fourth row here.
Nicholas Hodel, Arizona PBS Cronkite News. Really for you, Coach Dykes, and for you, Max Duggan, we saw a lot of these crazy 3-4 play swings that it was just really just crazy to watch. What do you think it says about the poise of your guys' team to be able to withstand some of those major 3-4 play swings, particularly late in that third quarter, and to be able to still maintain a leading position throughout?
Go ahead, Max. I'll let you start.
Yeah, I think, you know, momentum is so big in college football. You know, whoever has it, you know, is such a big advantage. But I think what Coach Dykes and what our strength coach, Coach Kaz, does, you know, so well of, you know, preaching next play. If you walked up and down our sideline, you're going to hear everybody on the sideline saying next play. Continuing to fight, continuing to believe, not worrying about what that last play just, you know, was, whether it was a successful play, whether it was a bad play, just playing that next play. And I think that's kind of our mindset, which helped us kind of fight through some of the momentum swings.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I mean, I think it was crazy. I mean, it really was. You know, it felt like there were about 2 series here. We got on our heels a little bit defensively. And you got to give our players a ton of credit. I mean, they got over the sideline, they got settled down. Our coaching staff, I thought, made some adjustments. And, you know, and the guys just said, we got refocused and, you know, took the field with the right mentality and went out and started making plays again. And so, you know, it was a very, you know, unusual game. I mean, the last couple of minutes of the third quarter seemed like it lasted about an hour. It was wild, you know, just big play after big play after big play, momentum swing. But the thing that we did over and over and over again was answer. You know, when we had to, we put distance between us and them repeatedly, and, you know, that was the key to the ball game.
Stay in the center, second row.
Tori Couch, KillerFrogs.com. Max, it's a lot of firsts for this team. First time college football playoff, first team from Texas, first time TCU has played for national title in, you know, since the 1930s. When you hear all those things, it's kind of what goes through your mind, especially kind of as a leader of this team, when all those things are kind of put in front of you.
No, it means a lot, and I think, you know, there's been so many great teams that have come through and built this program up. You know, there's probably too many to name that they did a lot to get this program to where we're at, and, you know, this means a lot to those guys, to our university, our fans that have continued to support us, have continued to have our backs, but just happy for the guys in this locker room. You know, a lot of guys have been through a lot of stuff, you know, some lows, some failures, things of that sort, but guys keep buying. Happy for this coaching staff, you know, that came in and believed in us and put us in spots to be successful. So just there's a lot of pride, you know, amongst TCU and this university.
Another question here in the back center.
Hey, Sonny, you said before the game that you were going to think about Coach Leach before this one kicked off. With the way that game played out, with all those points being scored like that, what do you think Coach Leach would have to say about that game?
I think he probably got a kick out of it, yeah. You know, it's funny, you get into a game like this. I mean, look, this is all of our lives. You know, it's these football players' lives. It's the coaching staff's lives. I mean, it's what we do. We pour our heart and soul into this, and everybody up here makes a ton of sacrifices. And, so you put so much in, you get a little emotional sometimes. And there was a time there, right when we took a knee where, I thought about my dad, thought about Coach Leach. It's pretty special when you can win one of these games, and you certainly wish you could share it with them. But, you feel their presence. You really do. And it was, it was like you said, man, it was an old-fashioned shootout and something he would have got a kick out of for sure.
All right, we're going to stay here on the right in the back.
Quentin, Derek Lotto, KillerFrogs.com. Can you talk about when Michigan cut it to 3, that 3rd and 7 huge catch? Can you talk about what was running through your mind there?
I think Max kind of summed it up with Coach Kaz and our whole strength and conditioning core just up and down the sidelines in our ear every 5 seconds talking about next play, next play, next play. So like once you hear that after a while, it's like, all right, like next play, like the play that just happened, like even if it was like he said a real bad play, you just kind of get a tendency just to shake it off right then and there. Obviously we'll come revisit it and stuff after the game, in film. But in that moment in time, especially with a close game like that, you really have no time to just dwell on what happened because, if you, stay in the shadow of that last play, it kind of affect the plays following that. So, kind of just staying level-headed through the course of the game.
We'll stay here in the center in the back.
Joseph Igo, Cronkite News. Max, given how crazy this game was, and now you got to go play the biggest game of your career next week, how long do you kind of give yourself to enjoy this game, and how soon do you plan on kind of getting onto that one?
No, yeah, this is a big win, and we're going to celebrate it tonight as a team and as a fan base. But we know that we got a bigger one coming up, and that's the one that we really want. And, right when we get on the flight back to Fort Worth is when our start or when our preparation starts. And I think, that's where kind of our minds are at. We're going to celebrate it. Obviously we're excited, but, we know we got a big one coming up.
Here in the very back, far left.
Sonny, Paul Meyerberg with USA Today. Michigan seemed very confident coming into this game tonight. Curious as a team or as a staff, if you noticed it, is that something you spook about as a group, if you needed that as motivation?
Say the first part again, I'm sorry.
Michigan seemed very confident coming into this game. Did you use it as a team, or did you even notice it?
What's funny is that kind of stuff hasn't really bothered us. Like we said it a million times, but, look, we were picked 7th in the preseason poll in the Big 12. So it's at some point you just kind of quit listening to what everybody says, and it doesn't really affect you. And I think that's what's been so great about these guys is that they've kept a real steady mindset from the very beginning. Early on we were told how bad we were. As we got a little better, we were told we could be pretty good, and then all of a sudden how great we were and all that stuff. And our guys never changed. You know what I mean? I mean, they didn't change personally. Nobody all of a sudden, became a tough person to deal with. I mean, everybody's just kept a great mindset. And look, I mean, I heard it. It frustrated me. Again, I believe in our players. Look, I think we're a physical, tough-minded football team, and it bothered me that, we heard all week about how we were going to get lined up and run through and all that stuff. And I'm sure these guys were extra motivated. But at the same time, I mean, look, they do their jobs. They do it with great pride. They prepared incredibly well. We had 3 weeks of outstanding practices. I thought we had a really good plan coming to the bowl site and handling it the way we handled it. And these guys were the biggest part of that. We didn't have a player miss curfew. We didn't have anybody late to anything. They had a business mentality when we got here to Phoenix and, carried over to the game.
Go on the far right, front row.
Coach, I know everything is calculated, sorry, and analytics poured over and all of that. On that 3rd and 7 in the fourth quarter, you guys didn't take a shot in the end zone. Kind of looked like you got it to the middle and kicked the field goal. What's the thought behind that at that point?
Well, so the thought was, we were hoping to get it down to like 4th and 2 or 3 and go for it. That was the idea. Was, on second thought, having done that, probably didn't turn out great. we'd do it differently if we had a chance to do it over again. But that was the mentality, was, okay, look, if let's cut it down to 4th and 3 or 4th and 4, and then we felt like we had a better shot at going for it, and, we lost a yard, and so all of a sudden it turned into a field goal deal. And, the field goal was big because, instead of being up 3, we're up 6, and that changed Michigan's mentality completely when they got the ball back at the end of the game. So different. It's such a different approach when you have to score a touchdown than if you have to kick a field goal. So we felt like every point mattered in this game, and it turned out it did. And, wasn't an ideal exchange the way it went down, but again, I think it turned out the way it needed to.
Third row on the left.
Hey, Dee and Quentin and Jeff Wilson from Frogs Today, and Max too. The same question that guy just asked about did you guys feel disrespected? Because some of the guys in the auxiliary room, like Johnny and Amari, talked about how you had heard, the Michigan players said, "Are they in the Big 12?" Stuff like that. Did that motivate you guys?
Yeah, I definitely think that it motivated us. We heard all week that they were going to out-physical us, and I think, like you said, it just gave us a little bit of motivation. So I think the guys, handled it well during practice and were very physical in the showcase tonight.
Me, I've been hearing stuff like that since as long as I can remember. But at the end of the day, that's a part of it. That's a part of good competition, and that's what makes it, I feel. But me personally, I don't really like to get caught up in the social media, he said, she said, stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we got a job to do, and that's playing football. So when big games like this, I tend to stay off of social media, just going on people's pages looking about what they're talking about. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if they can't perform on the field.
And let me just say this. We know we're going to hear it again. It's not going to stop now. I'm saying? We're going to play again in 10 days, and we're going to hear the same crap for 10 days that we heard leading up to this ball game. And, we got to do what we did this game. We got to answer that criticism and show up and do what we're supposed to do. But if we think that's going away, I think you guys all know that's not. That's just the way it is.
Stay here on the left in the front row.
Coach, you're a guy that has an appreciation for history. TCU being sort of left out of the conference and having to find its way back, and then getting here and then being left out in 2014. You get in and you win. Sort of what does that mean in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, I think it validates the committee. It validates what's great about college football is every single game matters. You know what I mean? And there's no other sport that's like it, and that's why people pour so much into games in September and so much into games in October and so much into games in November, is because they all mean something. They're all really, really important, and that's what makes the sport great. And in order to run through and win 13 games like this team has done, it takes an incredible amount of maturity and focus. You can't slip up. You got to prepare every week, and you got to give your best every single time you take the field, because if you don't, you're going to get beat. And that's what this group figured out all year is how to do that, how to do it for 14 weeks, going into now 15 weeks. And, just showing up, working hard, preparing. But, as far as history goes, look, this is a special team. I don't know that, you go back and you look at teams that have played for national championships, typically they're not picked 7th in their conference. That's a credit to these guys. They never listened. They always believed. They rolled their sleeves up. They went to work every day, and they care about each other. And they knew if they did things the right way, something good would happen, and it has.
We have time for one more question. We're going to stay here on the left front row.
Coach, Jeremy Clark, 24/7 Sports, Horned Frog Blitz. You talked about the end of the third quarter. Those final few minutes seemed like an hour. How long did that last play when y'all stopped them on 4th down and they were reviewing? What was that feeling like, and when did you kind of allow yourself to start celebrating?
I probably celebrated a little too soon, honestly. I didn't see the flag come in, or certainly didn't anticipate that was going to get reviewed for targeting. And that sequence of events, it was weird because, they snapped the ball, the quarterback wasn't ready. I wasn't sure if his knee was down before the forward pass took place. There was just a lot of stuff that they had to sort through. At the end of the day, you got to give the officials credit. They got it right. They got the call right. And it was a hell of a way to end a ball game. I know that. There was a lot of uncertainty about, what happened. But It did seem like a while. I don't know how long it took, but it certainly seemed like it took about an hour to me.
Okay, we'll do one final question here in the front row left.
Sonny, Mac Engel, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. You're a Texan. You remember what TCU was like 20, 25 years ago. There's a handful of us in this room remember it too. Can you speak to what a win like this means to TCU?
Yeah, we say it all the time. I mean, it's credibility. You know what I mean? You gotta, when you're a small private school, you gotta fight for it. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, Michigan's got 750,000 alumni. We got 75,000, whatever it is, and that's just the way it is. I mean, you always have to fight for credibility. It's part of the deal. It's part of what makes TCU great, though, is that they roll their sleeves up, they go to work, they figure out a way to do it. And it's not only the football team, it's the entire university, it's every athletic program at the university, and that's why there's so much excellence at the place. I mean, look around at the other teams, other sports and the other teams that represent TCU and what they do and how they compete. And I think we all have a chip on our shoulder. It's the part of the Horned Frog way. It's just the way it is. And again, that's what makes the place special. That's what makes these guys special is, they show up, they go to work, they keep grinding, and nothing ever bothers them. And they carry a chip on their shoulder every day, and it motivates all of us. But I see it as a positive.
All right, that will conclude our press conference. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations to TCU, the 2022 VRBO Verbo Fiesta Bowl champions.